Okay.
Correct.
Yes,
It's come.
we are live. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Back again, Sharmila, with all of you. And today with me is Ashok Subramanian, whom I know for the past 2.5 years now. In fact, I had heard about him and I had heard a lot about him, in fact, through a very close friend of mine, Fatima, from South Africa, who used to stay with, who I hosted to at my place. And then I had the opportunity to meet him and attend his workshops at IDEC. I also got to meet his wife in IDEC, which was held in Bangalore. It's a conference for democratic education, and then I volunteered for SAM, that is for Shikshan Annual Meet, where Ashok was leading one of the organizing members, and I volunteered for or SAM, and that's where I got to know him better. Apart from that, our connection is also with NLP. I was super inspired by Ashok to pursue NLP, and I started with self reading and reading a lot of books, blogs, and finally got to know that Sue Knights, who is also Ashok's guru, was conducting a workshop in Chennai in Cochin, and I just took that opportunity and I attended the practitioner course. So that's how I know Ashok. But I'm going to hand it over to him to share about himself and his family. His wife Priya is right here with us, and his children will also be around, so they'll also join in. Hi Priya, how are you?
Hi, Sharmila, how are you?
It's been a long time. I think after IDEC, all I've done is follow your posts and on Facebook, but not more than that. I've met Ashok during SAM and the NLP conference. So over to you, Ashok and Priya. Why don't you all introduce yourselves and tell us about yourselves and your children and your family and so on. Yeah.
So, I mean, thank you, Sharmila, for such a long, detailed explanation about our experience together. It's really a pleasure because, you know, having somebody in NLP and then being interviewed is always a luxury for me. So I'm more delighted that we could talk about this. And often, a lot of things that we do stay with us. I think this comes as an opportunity for us to also share it with a larger community.
Right.
So we live in Krishnagiri in Tamil Nadu near Bangalore. So we moved into a farm 2-3 years, maybe 3-4 years before. And our family is myself, Priya. You want to say something? Then Vipasha is my daughter.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Vipasha.
Hi.
She's grown quite tall.
And then we have Ramanan.
Hi, Ramanan. I think Ramanan was about 1.5 to 2-year-old toddler when I saw y'all at IDEC running all over the place. Hi, Ramanan.
And then we have Kadhambary.
Kadhambary. She's the latest entrant. Oh, such a sweet smile.
I have to really bend down to get her.
Hi.
Yeah. So we all are one lot, who spent the lockdown together. So So what do you want to tell me, Sharmila, more than this?
You can share about how did homeschooling happen for all of y'all, and what motivated you or inspired you to homeschool your children? And so maybe we could start with that.
Yeah, I think when I was before my marriage, somewhere I found this book in one of my friend's house, which said homegrown kids. Okay,
Okay.
it was a US based book. I think I picked up that book and I read a little of that book, but not fully. But maybe that time I was just curious because I was into education. I was training children also. So then I forgot about it. I didn't really think too much
Yeah.
about it.
How
Then
far away was this? When was this like?
this was about, I think should be 15 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
So then, after I got married, uh, basically as a person, I was traveling and doing trainings. So I was not settling down in one place. I was often moving towards whatever that was interesting to me. So my family was also was not very happy because I was not settling down on their standards. And I was moving into all this training people, and whereas my family was into full-time business. So anyway, so I was like that. Then my father thought after marriage I could possibly sit in one place and do something properly, like that. Then after marriage, I started traveling with my wife. So we started to go and do programs and do all that together. Then my father expected that after my first child, we will have no option than to stay home.
Settle down,
So
right?
after our first child, I was in Delhi that time. And after she conceived, we decided that it will be better for us to move to our hometown to have a life which is a little more relaxing and friendly for the child. So we moved back to our hometown, which was Krishnagiri, the same place where we are right now. And then after the child was born, I started traveling along with my child and my wife. So then my father was like, "Chalo, he's he was not able to. He was actually excited and curious that he will see how long will this guy keep doing like this, like that." But nevertheless, they thought, okay, after the school age comes, we will possibly settle down. But for us, we used to travel to places to run workshops. And after the kid came, I started to change the workshop design so that it is interesting for the wife and child also to be part of the experience.
Right.
So, because leaving them behind was quite, exhaustive for them to be on their own in the home. And, they really have to wait for me. And when I come out, I will be keen on being at home, where they will be keen on going out.
Right.
So I will be keen on home food. They will be keen on eating out. So, we had this bunches of life, phases of life where we were like that. But every now and then we used to pack our bags, and taking them along was stress-free because I didn't have to come back quickly. So I could. So in fact, my trainings would be more at the outskirts, in farm areas, in organic resort, in that kind of spaces. And I will also extend my stay for 2 days before and 2 days before and after, so that my child also is there we have enough time to settle down, and then we take enough from the place. So slowly what was happening was my profits were going down because we would have huge numbers in the cities, and there will be lesser people who will come. But the connection and the kind of work we were doing were going deeper, and we as a family were very happy.
Right.
Because we were getting an alternate lifestyle, a new culture, new food, which my family was also experiencing. So that was a joy in that. And so we said we were happy, traveling. So we were traveling. When they were tired, they were behind in the home, and I used to travel alone. So we had this combination, and then possibly the whole family was waiting that, okay, when the school age comes, Vipasha will get to school, and that will kind of make us a little more organized in our lifestyle. Then what happened was, then I remembered this book, Homegrown Kids. And then what I also noticed was one clear moment which kind of gave us some confidence. Or we were doing things unconsciously, but when we started to become conscious of what we are doing, was this moment when we were in Jodhpur for a month. We were staying in a textile weavers family, and we had a 5-day workshop for a group of participants. So
Hmm.
they had a lot of buffaloes. So they were giving all buffalo milk, buffalo curd, buffalo. Everything was from the
Hmm.
buffalo. And then
Yeah.
we had the textile weaving. They had a joint family. So there was a lot of open area. There were about 10 kids in the joint family.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so so we were there for a month. Even though the workshop was for 5 days, we stayed there for a
Hmm.
month. And
Hmm.
in 1 month, my daughter, who was on the first day not knowing Hindi and then watching all these kids, on the last day she was playing actively with them and then talking to them in Hindi.
Hmm.
Then
Hmm.
we counted how many languages she knew, and it was five.
Wow.
Because
Hmm.
Tamil we speak, we were in Bangalore, so she picked up English
Hmm.
with another friend whom she had visiting home. Then her
Hmm.
mother's place apartment was Kannada, so she was picking up Kannada.
Hmm.
We were in Kerala for a few years, so she picked up Malayalam.
Malayalam. Wow.
So it was not easy to brush aside what we were doing and move into the structure of school,
Right.
uh,
Right.
because she would not anyway get these experiences, and maybe she can learn through textbook, but not practically.
Yes.
So we thought something was happening for her,
Hmm.
and then we said, okay, chalo, we are happy as long as somebody complains. Then we will take a break and move into the regular system. Otherwise, we
Hmm.
can continue this. And
Hmm.
the kind of confidence and whatever that we were getting, I think my parents were also not. They were also slightly okay. They were also
Hmm.
not very strongly forcing me because they were also
Hmm.
watching what's happening.
Right.
So that's how we started. Then only
Wow.
we identified that there are groups in Bangalore which were homeschoolers. Then we started
Hmm.
being part of the community. We had a
Hmm.
lot of emotional uh, uh, what turbulence about answering this and doing what we are doing and all that. When we
Hmm.
came into the community and when we listened and interacted with people and watched what they are doing, then we were able to find our own center on what is right and what is not, and what is our direction, and things like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So I'll give it to
Wow.
my wife. She will also say a few things.
Yes, yes, we are all waiting to hear from her also. So, Priya, how was it for you? Was it same as Ashok, the decision to homeschool, which just happened organically because you all did a lot of travel and your trainings and all that, or was it more conscious for you?
Uh, so I would say it was both actually. As in, see, like I didn't enjoy my schooling days. So, like,
Right.
I was into a proper conventional school, and it was like, I mean, everything a regular school does, and there's nothing that, uh, like, when I recall my school days, I feel the stress even now, like, they are.
Okay. Wow. Yes.
So, when we were thinking about the child, the first thing when we were just casually discussing, we didn't know about homeschooling and all that. I was like, yeah, the school thing is going to be a like something that because you putting so much effort into having a natural birth and having
Mm.
everything in the right way as you want. Okay, Ramanan just wants to come into the frame. Um,
Yes.
so then about when the discussion came about school, then we were like really thinking about how to go about it and all that, and we thought, okay, we have time still, like 3-4 years
Mm.
will go until the child comes to that age. And then again, each step, I think we were taking it at a time. Like, there was nothing
Mm.
like pre-planned, like when the
Mm.
baby was born in Ashok's hometown, we could not find houses with gardens. They were like
Right.
small houses for rent.
Mm.
And So then we thought, okay, we should like move to a place which is little more rural. And then we had this option of going to Kerala because his courses were happening at Chennai.
Mhm.
So then when we went there we saw every house had a garden. Then we thought, okay,
Right.
we should just rent out a house here and stay so the child will get some nature to play with. And step by step, we were thinking like at each step what would be good for the child and for us, and
Mm.
we had to move together. That was something we had in mind. So
Mhm.
that's how the courses running the courses together, all that happened. And
Mm.
like when she was growing more, like when she was almost around I think she was around 4. Then we conceived with our second child.
Hmm.
So that time we were like until the pregnancy we somehow managed. But then when the second child came in, then we were finding it a little difficult to travel. Then at that time we rented a house. I mean, we rented a flat kind of thing. As in, there were only 4 houses in that compound, and it had a
Hmm.
big garden also. So then we thought,
Okay.
okay, I don't have to go out to take the take the
Kids
child
out to
out.
play.
We
Yeah.
shall have people around, and even for security reasons, when like
Yes.
Ashok is traveling, then we can be by ourselves and all that. So like that, I think each step we were like, and we were like, we didn't have anything fixed in our mind. We always said,
Hmm.
okay, the child comes first, and within that, and our needs also, like including all this, whatever we could do. And we were,
Hmm.
and also the biggest plus point was that Ashok's job was flexible. Like, he could travel around, or he could decide how he wants to do. And he
Hmm.
chose that. In fact, I wouldn't say it just happened like that, because
Yes.
he chose on giving up the other businesses that the family was running, which had a lot of travel to do, and which had, like, the proper
Hmm.
office works to do. And he chose to, like, have a little more offbeat kind of life. So yeah, of course, the repercussions were there. I mean, the other kind of repercussions were there. So financially, we had to work a little bit more and all that. But I think the whole format was that we would take one decision at a time, and
Hmm.
we would never know how the next year would go. So we could never,
Hmm.
like, plan like for an year ahead or 2 years ahead.
Right. 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 So, wow, what I hear is that yes, many of your decisions, though were organic, they were also very conscious. Y'all thought and y'all lived in the present, so y'all weren't worried about what's going to happen 2 years, 3 years later, but with what is there in the present. And another thing that I hear from what you both share is that you always were together in the decisions that you all took. Never that Ashok wanted one thing and you wanted one thing. You all always came on the same page. That's really amazing and wonderful to know. I can see Vipasha here. Vipasha, why don't you share a little about yourself and how does it feel to be out of school, and not going to school? You probably must be watching other children go to school every morning. Now, pandemic is which makes things different. But how has it been for you?
Yeah, so like when we were in that flat, which mom said, my friend used to go to school. So I also used to get a bag and then go till the gate and drop him and come back. And it was all fun. And we used to go around to play and all. But still, I also wanted to go to school.
Okay, so
But
so what happened then?
like, yeah, so and then when I was studying in third standard, I mean, when I was around 8 years, my brother Ramanan had born. So at that time, went to school because like father used to go to out of station for
Right.
training, and my mom was with my brother. So I had nothing to I mean, to entertain myself. I had some dolls and playing, and I had one of my friend who was nearby. But then still, she used to go to school. So then I was more like I also want to go to school. Then I went to school for third standard for around 3 months, and then I went to my father. Like usually I go for like very less time, and then I went to his father and told him that I went to school for 3 months, and then after that we came to Krishnagiri here next year, and then here I didn't know any homeschooling family. We didn't know anyone, so I went to school for first standard for 1 year, and then fifth standard again. Another we tried another school, but that didn't suit me. So then we started homeschooling, and then sixth standard, my sister was she was my mother conceived with her. So then that time also I didn't go. because we had to travel to Kerala for the delivery and all. And then seventh standard, I wanted to go, but then that was the time when the COVID-19 was started,
Yes,
lockdowns
yes.
were there.
Mm.
So then I didn't go, but yeah. Now this year I'm planning to go to school because like even if it's online class, it's okay because I'm really done
Mhm.
out homeschooling.
Okay. So, what is it that you miss the most? What is it that school gives you and homeschooling doesn't?
I missed like I miss my friends the most.
Mm-hmm. Friends and being with them. Yeah, even my son shares the same thing. He's joined the same space where he used to go to for his 10th board preparation, and he's very open and he's so happy because he's back with all his friends whom he was close to earlier. Yeah. And not that he doesn't have friends otherwise, but on a regular basis is what he says he prefers being with his school friends. Uh, nice, lovely to know. Vipasha, could you also share that how was your routine when you were homeschooling? What did you do throughout the day?
So in the morning, like I used to wake up very late, around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then I wake up, I get fresh up, and then I um, eat food. By the time it becomes around 12:31, and then this was in Kerala. So then um, I used to start playing with my dolls and all, and ride the cycle
Mm,
outside. There was a big garden and all, and then I come back home, help my mother, play with her and all. And then
mhm,
after that, there was a small girl who was not going to school. I mean, not
mhm,
homeschooling, but she didn't get the age still. So I used to play with her in the house. And then in the evening, my friend used to come. So I start playing with him, or I'll go to his house and all. It was
mhm,
fun. And then in the afternoon, sometimes we go to a hotel nearby where there is a play area. And then we used to go to play and there and all. And also in the evenings, sometimes we also go to that, there's a park there. So there.
mhm,
And then
mhm.
this was how my day used to go.
Okay, so there was lots and lots of play and kind of do whatever you are happy doing, right? And so then,
Yeah.
how did you learn to read and write? Was there, because you joined grade three directly, so was there something that happened at home where your mom used to teach, or how did that happen?
So sometimes I used to take the book and ask her to teach me, but not always. But
Mm-hmm.
main thing how I learned was like if I want something, then my father used to say that if I want like dosa or something uh, in the hotel, my father used to say that it will be written the whiteboard which is kept outside the hotel. In that he wrote and showed me if it
Mm-hmm.
is there, then you tell me, I'll stop the vehicle. So like that,
Oh.
sometimes I learned, and then in the school also, like in the third standard, I learned something. But actually, to say how I learned the full like school type of thing was in fourth standard only. In the starting, it was
Okay.
quite hard for me, but later it became very easy.
Okay, wow, wow. So should we say that you self-learned with the help of your our parents, asking you to read menu cards and maybe labels and a whole lot of things, and you picked it up because you wanted to?
Yeah, yeah, but they also
Mhm.
taught me many things.
Okay, they also taught you. So, taught you through books, taught you through a curriculum. How was it?
It was like they used to teach me to say and all. I used to speak everything, but
Hmm.
I didn't know much to write. But that also I learned in that handwriting notes and all
Okay.
books.
Wow. Wow. Nice. Nice. Yes. So, Priya, is your mom around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so maybe I can ask the next question to her. So, Priya, now Vipasha is around 12. She plans to go to school probably once COVID is over. But what about the other two, Ramanan and Kadhambary? So, Ramanan is also around 4 now, right? Uh,
He's going to turn 5 now.
he's going to turn
Uh,
5. Wow.
yes.
So, would
Yes.
he also be going to school, or how is it going to be for him?
So with Ramanan and Kadhambary, what happens is take her, no? uh, what happens is they both have very less age gap between them. So he is
Right.
around 5 and she will be 2 now.
Hmm.
So in some ways they have companionship, like Vipasha used to be alone because
Hmm.
because we lost our second child when he was 11 months old, and so
Mhm.
she didn't have that, at home, that I'm saying she didn't have that. ಅದು ಪೆರ್ಸಾಗದ್ದಮ್ಮ, ಪೆರ್ಸಾಗದ್ದು. She didn't have that small kids to play with, and then there was so she had to spend most of her time with us,
Hmm.
and we
Hmm.
found it very, challenging to keep her
Hmm.
entertained, and to actually go to her speed. uh,
Right.
uh, but with these two, they somehow, most of the time they engage each other, and of course we are there,
Hmm.
and then again having the whole cycle, like repeating the whole cycle of
Yeah.
just now Ramanan is picking up his pencil book, and he wants to, sit and write something, and like that he's starting. So
Yes.
I think it's again another
Uh-huh.
cycle, but I feel only thing is now it's a little bit more easy, I feel, because there are two of them and they keep each other entertained, and we have Vipasha as another hand. So we like
Right.
yeah, she is a semi-adult, so she takes care of them
Mhm.
also. She helps me with a lot with the kitchen and with the children and everything. So that way,
Mhm.
for now it's working. And with
Right.
Ramanan also, what we feel is he can go to school when he's ready to. Like we've
Hmm.
exposed, like when we were in Kerala for a while, we took him to a Montessori school because
Hmm.
there he was not finding any friends. So we thought, okay, let him have a trial run also. And that school was a little flexible, so they let me also go with him. We hardly attended
Mhm.
for 10-15 days. So, but then we thought that will be a kind of experience with which he can decide on, with which he can, just
Hmm.
understand what a school is or how a school can
Right.
be, and then he can decide what he wants to do. So for now, he is good being at home, and also because we're living in a farm, it kind of keeps their energy,
Yes.
and also we have a neighbor's farm where there are 2-3 children. So at times they
Hmm.
go there, and I mean these people go there and they come over here. So for now it's
Hmm.
going good. So we really don't.
Mhm.
I mean, we will decide as it comes.
Yes.
For now,
Yeah.
no
And
school for both of them.
and I've also heard that, so that Ashok gets a lot of time with the children, and you all conduct your workshops and your trainings and everything at home itself, and that I've heard is a unique experience with which a lot of participants, say that, oh, you have to go to Ashok's farm sometime for a session, for a training. So I guess, so what I see is that y'all have reoriented your life so that y'all get to spend a lot of time together as a family. Y'all are spending time in nature. Y'all are in on a farm. I also have heard that, and I've also seen pictures of all your pets. I'm seeing a cat with Vipasha and a kitten.
Oh, it's a hen.
Yes. Oh, it's a hen this time.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So they are growing up among other creatures too. So how does that feel? Do you all feel that, oh, you all are doing something really way different from the normal, and you all are different from the regular people, or how do you all take it?
Uh, I've actually not thought in this angle that, how if we are really different or something. Uh, but this was a dream at some point, it didn't happen like we didn't plan it, and it didn't happen like, we just walked into a farm and everything was ready. It was not like that. So when Vipasha was born, we wanted to give her a life like this, like where she would be she would have some pets around, she would have some place to move around and all that. But we had to go through a lot of steps to actually get in here. And if things out in a farm, then that will be really great for people to live in a farm. Like, everything else has to work. Like, you need to have people around. You need to have, like, our farm is quite accessible from the town. So we're not very cut off from the town, and we often go there for our shopping experiences and the town experiences. Such things, like, I think, if you just let things happen, and then, like, you be open for and also being open is another important thing, I think, like, because of course we face a lot of challenges also being here. Like, even like 2 days before, Ramanan spotted a snake. He was just going and the snake just passed by him. So such things happen. And there are a lot of I think it's both sides. You have to, like, I feel very blessed to be here, and at the same time I feel it's making me also more alert, and I can't, like, just sleep off, or I'm all the time thinking, I'm like, what happened to the pets, what happened to the children, are they all there, what are they doing, like, such things. It's both weighing equally, I feel.
Okay. So, well, since we are talking about challenges, and you mentioned a challenge of seeing a snake in the house and around the house, what are some of the other challenges that you face as a homeschooling family? Maybe if Ashok wants to take it, he can also answer this. You can also share
I'll just
your
tell mine, and maybe I'll have to be leaving because the younger one needs me now.
wants you. Yeah.
So, one is companionship, of course, for them to have their peers all the time. And like in a farm, and we don't have a TV at home. So again, the entertainment thing becomes, like, like we try to do other things so they are engaged in it. So these two things are a little challenging, and also as a parent, like, you also want to sit and gossip with somebody, like, have an evening chai and listen to the neighbor gossip, and you want to gossip to them. So those things are a little bit challenging when you're living in a farm.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll give it to Ashok, and I'll move on. I'll see you guys a little later.
Yes. Nice to have you here, and hope to meet you soon sometime.
Yeah. Sure. Same here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello. Yes, Sharmila.
Yes, Ashok. So we were talking about some of the challenges that you all face as a homeschooling family, and Priya shared some of her challenges as a mom about keeping her children occupied and entertained, and also her need to be with neighbors and gossip and chat, and that becomes challenging at times. What about you as a dad who's now running all his workshops and NLP trainings at the farm? How is it for you?
See, Sharmila, I have to say, when I was listening to what my daughter was saying also. Some little context has to be put, to what she was saying also. See, the homeschooling is a everyday struggle, because you're waking up and then you're thinking, how are we going to be engaged today? So there is nothing that you have. Okay, I know, children, get them ready, send them to school. Then you are free. You don't have that freedom. It's almost like when children sleep, then you have some freedom to do what you want till they grow up. Okay, to whatever extent. But on the other side, I feel Vipasha has benefited a lot by homeschooling. Okay. She went to school because we had a school just next door in Kerala. Okay, and then she wanted to go because she was seeing all the children coming and she also wanted to go. She went for 3 months, and then after 3 months, she didn't want to go. She came back. She said, I don't want to go back to school because the teacher is not sharing the lunch. Okay. And then it is boring every day to sit and, not do anything, So it was, so she was, only thing that interested in her in the school was the annual day function practice. They had a performance. So that was something that interested her. So till the annual day performance, she went to the school. And after the annual day performance, she came back. She said, I don't want to go. So there was a curiosity for her, and we provided her to, nourish that curiosity. So that way it happened. And when we moved to our Krishnagiri also, because there was no community, she wanted to go to school. This 1 year in school was a very interesting experience. She went in as a kid who can't write down what is being written on the board. She may take 40 minutes to write the 4 lines. That's how she went in. The teacher will be hurrying up because they have to do 3 rounds of 4 lines in 40-minute period. Okay. And then the teacher will be back of Vipasha's seat, and then she'll say, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, That is how she had to face, that is the reality that she had to face in the school. And I used to go and fight with the principal and the correspondent and all the teachers that they allowed 1 year of leeway for my daughter to engage with the school. So they shouldn't force her, And she used to come back. There will be a lot of homework. Okay. So she used to come back and keep writing till 11 o'clock in the night. And she'll sleep like that. Because there was so much classwork to finish. She was 1 month late to school. And I used to go back and ask the teachers, he's writing education. He's writing only thing that she has to do now for the 1 month. Because they didn't even allow her to play in a PT period unless she completes her notes. Okay. So these are the kind of challenges she faced. But nevertheless, she scored very well, and she came back as a top 2 in the class at the end of the 1 year. Okay. There were a lot of emotional ups and downs throughout the school journey where she was misunderstood. She could not explain herself, all that. And one example, not about that, but just what the learning she got, I would say, one test she came back with 10 out of 10. She was hardly there. She could not even comprehend what is being said, but I was surprised that surprise test she got 10 out of 10. So the teacher said, very well, your daughter's done well. So I got her back, and on the way back from school, I asked her, how did you know the answers? She said, it is very easy. All the questions are true or false. And the answer is TT, FF, TT, FF, TT. So she just memorized the TT, FF, TT and got 10 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
And the teacher is in awe that she got 10 out of 10. Okay. So as a parent, I was worried, that she was not learning, but she was being rewarded for her shortcuts.
Yes.
She was not understanding because she would usually be in a hurry to memorize it and then write down and finish it for the syllabus. She was sitting down and exploring and understanding a subject which was very much in the homeschooling times was slowly taken away. And at the end of 1 year, I found there was a different shift in her with the 1 year school. And, she used to be very entertaining herself, learning new things, those kind of things were very much part of her. This 1 year took away most of those. Okay.
Right.
And that is when I brought her to IDEC. Because I often wanted to nourish her back into her best self. And that year I did 3 conferences. One was IDEC, another one was SAM, and third was LSUC. And after I did 3 conferences where you just come and don't know what to do because nobody is going to say what to do. And then you hang around with people and figure out what to do. And after this 3 conferences, then that was the time we moved to the farm also. She was so particular to get into another school. But after seeing that the school was again a difficult experience, she said, if you can let me live in the farm, I don't need a school. I will be happy myself.
Right.
So I said, okay. And nevertheless, she needed friends, because that was very tough. So what we did was right through the homeschooling all these years, we have involved ourselves into some kind of kids engagement so that she gets friends. Okay. So we ran a tuition center where Vipasha used to go every day in the evening. Her mom used to teach the village kids do their homework. She used to bring a notebook and say, I am also doing my homework, and she will keep writing something on her own.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, so this is the context of how we have done. And
Yes.
I think every 6 months to pass by, she acquires some new skills. Okay. Even though it is boring, even though it is challenging, she has a YouTube channel. Okay.
Yes. In fact, that
She
was
can
what I was going to ask about now.
she can shoot videos. She can edit them. She can talk to the camera much better than how I talk to the camera. And then she can edit. And none of this was taught by me.
Hmm.
She will observe, she'll ask which button, and she will take the camera, go sit with herself, do the video, and then come back. And I'm the one who is limiting her, which means I say no more videos, stop it, because you don't have to go after likes, and unless there is some really stuff that you want to do, just because you're bored, you shouldn't have to go and do it. So these are my philosophies. So I put some limitations on her. Otherwise, she could have become a YouTube star, doing one after another. So, so that I feel that right now in the lockdown, what we did was we bought her one old Tamil novel, okay, which I aspired to study. Even after my college, I didn't study that, but I always thought one day I will study it. So now during lockdown, I bought it. Okay, in the first 1 month, in the last 1 month lockdown, she finished that novel. It has about 700 pages of 800 pages of classic Tamil. Okay. From the time when she can't read Tamil, when we can't teach her Tamil, now she can talk about this novel. She want to put up a video on this. So I think all this will go away when she goes to school.
Right.
But when you don't give something, they always aspire for it. So I think she also has a liking for it. I don't say she should not, but maybe after she goes, but she is immensely benefited by a lot of skills. She can cook almost everything in the kitchen. She can make biryani. She can make egg, cake, all of that. And she will do all this when we do workshops. She will present it to the participants. And then she gives a music session for participants at the end of the day every day. She takes them out for trekking during the break time. And then, she is the one who will be after me for the games designing for the participants. So what I'm saying is, as a father, for me, initially I was hesitant to bring them to the workshop space. They used to come in breaks and go away. But once I had to put up them in my home because of certain difficulties, I could not keep them away during the workshop. But what we found was that workshop was much more entertaining and effective, and participants liked children coming and playing their roles, and they really thought it was a dream to have both the things. So from then on, we made it part of me. I made them part of the workshop. Okay, and now if they go away, it will be very difficult for me to run the workshop because they all have taken their roles inside this workshop. And everybody knows, like, I don't have to go shopping for books and charts and pens because they will all go out and do all of that and come. They enjoy that. And cooking also, they take part of it. We outsource the food, but they do some things to spice up one or two in every day and to showcase and enjoy. And they also learn a lot from participants who arrive.
Right.
So for me, I feel, initially when she was alone, it was tough for us to often take her out and engage with something or other. But now we are in a place where we are trying to inbuild everything that we want inside our space.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Yes.
So right now, maybe she is in the teens, so she wants to go and have a world of her own with other teens, which we think is possible with she going to a school. But otherwise, I think, right now, I think we are much, much better than what we were many years ago.
Right.
In terms of happiness, in terms of, the farm gives you more possibilities to experiment with many things.
True.
And everything, every day you have certain emotions. 2 days back, one of our chicken died. So then there was sadness. when the new chickens arrived, they saw the entire cycle of reproduction, how the egg comes, how the chicks come.
Yes.
I know,
Yes.
right from a small age. And
Mm.
Vipasha particularly was there for Ramanan's birth and for Kadhambari's birth. She knows the complete process of birthing a baby.
Working.
And
Right.
in fact, she used to take her mother for exercises before the baby births. So she
Wow.
wrote one paragraph on why and how she wants to become a midwife. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
So there are many facets of learning when it comes to homeschooling.
Right.
But when you go to school, obviously she will be limited to textbooks, and we may also miss the charm of what we are right now, because she definitely has a very important role in the home, which keeps all of us also very happy and active. So it will be somebody hijacking my daughter away. But nevertheless, I have hope that she might go, and then she will still keep this part of her alive and engage with that, and
True.
then we can see where it goes.
Yes, yes. So what I hear from what you say is that you respect her decisions and her choices, and you know from your heart that you feel that she's learning a lot more by being here at the farm, but you at the same time you feel that she has a right to choice, and she can, if she chooses to be in school, you'll be open to it. I think that's a very important point that comes across. Parents should know that children are not just beings who are to be told do this, do that, do that. They have a mind of their own, and they want to experience life for themselves rather than experience it the way the other maybe parents or adults want them to. So that's a very interesting point that you have made. Um, so now we've looked at she shared her routine. You have in a way shared how your routines are, especially during your trainings and when your workshops are on. We also know you'll have a full life here on the farm with a whole lot of animals as well as nature around you, and there is so much to do within the household. um, I asked this question to Priya also. Uh, how do I asked it to her in a very different way? I asked her in terms of how does she feel, when people say that, oh, y'all are living such a different life, y'all are different people, y'all are not like the normal. But I would like to know from you, how do people react, or how do people respond to the way you are currently living? Are they in awe, or are they overjoyed, or do they say that, oh, Ashok, what nonsense are you doing? You come back to the city and earn millions, you know?
Yeah. So, uh, definitely there are many people who feel that I could do much better in business.
Mm-hmm.
So that is always there. And the question is, how much is enough, Uh,
Right.
and and also, right now the phase of my life is I have young children at home, and
Mm-hmm.
the most asking thing for them is the father, and the most asking thing for me is their time too. And
Right.
I think now the whole world is realizing the benefit of work from home.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
True.
and so far this was yeah, preferred choice before this lockdown for us, that we could do something with the children and then do the work. Then things. Because I was coming from the place of mental health. I often wanted to ensure that the mental health is in a at least average place in my home, and otherwise I could not leave my home. So
Mm-hmm.
which means I had to attend to the needs of different peoples in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Unless all those things are there, it will be very difficult for me to travel. And
Right.
there was so much to attend in home only before we can talk about business. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
so that occupying and getting them ready, like we were in a spree of shifting houses from one to another, because children will outgrow that house.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Yeah.
they outgrow that house, they will be irritable, they will not sleep, they will make a fuss, because the question is that they have nothing to learn, there is nothing new for them to explore there. So unless something new comes in, because we don't have much of television or internet for them, I mean, we do have some access, but not too much. We have to ensure other aspects of availability for them. So, suddenly going on for a trip, suddenly traveling around, climbing a mountain, something. So these has to be part of the agenda along with work.
Right.
So
Right.
usually participants who come here, they go with the feeling of that work and family can be integrated. That is nothing comparable to that. They go with the feeling of that.
Yes.
And that is, I mean, I think the house comes alive when participants are there. Because there is more to do. There is children who wants to engage. There is everything. Everybody is busy. So in a way, when the lockdown and all this corona came, the main part of business of our house was not happening. So it put a lot of stress back to us, because when I come to online, I sit alone. Not all the kids are used. But when people come home, right from singing and chatting and all that, children are all engaged. So so that is some feeling. There was a time when people were constantly feeling negative. People who know us about homeschooling and children not going to school. So they used to tell me, you are spoiling your children's future. And then I used to respond to them saying that my dad had the privilege to spoil my future. So it is my privilege to, spoil their future. But both of us are doing it out of our best intention to them, So, so I think I had a show with a television where I was asked to debate on kids and gadgets. Okay, I was going for the team against gadgets. Okay. So in that show, they asked me which school my daughter was studying. I told them she is homeschooled, and it turned out that the entire, both my team and opposite team turned against me. And for another next 40 minutes, they pounced me on homeschooling. Okay, and they got angry, they shouted and screamed and all that. And I just kept my calm, and I explained whatever I could for them. Even though they gave the best speaker award back to me, saying that homeschooling is also a viable thing like that. But when this show went live, and I got a lot of support on the internet for my views, that brought in a lot of change in the people's mindset about me.
Wow.
Because everybody saw me on TV. So they started saying he is doing something different and constructive, let him do. That kind of change happened. Whereas before the initial phase, it was all a lot negative.
Okay. Wow. So are you worried about their future? Vipasha is growing. She's a teen. She's going to soon become an adult. Are you worried about her and your younger kids' future?
I was worried before. So I used to tell her when she was young that she needs to pick up a trade or some area where she could become a specialist, so that her future can be also happy and she can be at par with anybody, like that. But then one of the workshops I went, this lady, Vinita, she asked me, when did I think about my profession, what to do in life? Then I reflected back, it was in college.
Right.
Okay. So then maybe because the reason we are not doing something different, there is no assurance about the future. We may be worried about it. But right now I focus on looking at their capabilities and their intelligence. Okay, which becomes blunt and very limited when they go to many schools. Not all schools, but many schools. So I feel that right now, I told you that my daughter picked up a lot of capabilities. She is a very good dancer. She has learned some good amount of dance from a teacher on a one-to-one basis also. And because it all happened during our travel. So suddenly she finds a teacher, and then because of the teacher, we try to stay back. So like that, she had picked up quite a few things which she can confident. That gives them that confidence also when they can engage with some society. Either I am a dancer, I can do this like that. So I feel she is picking up a lot of pieces here and there. She's doing a mathematics class which is very unconventional mathematics, not the regular
Hmm.
mathematics. So she's picking up
Hmm.
a lot of pieces here and there. And
Hmm.
now being in the farm, she can garden, she can look after hens, she knows to maintain, give a bath to the dogs, you know. So she can sometimes she can even construct little things, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what I feel is it'll be a beauty to watch how all this come together in her life. You know, whenever she does whatever
Right.
she wants to do in life.
Right.
So yeah, so I think I no more or I don't worry about the future. I just look
Hmm.
forward to see what is the next opportunity that she can get to.
You can get.
So I'm not
Yeah.
even thinking even after 2 years. You know, like if she
Right.
decides to go to school next
Hmm.
year, this year, if that happens, then I have to think. I have to keep a watch on her. Personality and ability and how the school influences her and how she can make a best out of the school or how she can I do
Hmm.
some distractive things, distractive, like when she is on a school I would go on a holiday and say you want to go to the school or you want to come for a holiday, you know so
Yeah.
before she was younger age, so it was easy, but now that
Hmm.
she's now going to 8th and ninth, I don't know how
Hmm.
that works. But
Oh.
the point is, the homeschooling is not just about the child alone.
Hmm.
Now we have two more child, and we need to do justice to all of us. And the moment she walks out of the home and goes to school, all of us will feel a void. So obviously the best way to fill a void is travel. So then we all have to
Right.
travel. So then she has to take a
Hmm.
call whether she would like to join us on the
Hmm.
travel or to go to the school. And if she is going to join us for a travel, then obviously for a
Hmm.
week, 10 days, she'll be off school and she has to cope up there. So it'll be interesting to
Right.
see how we put these challenges to her and how she responds to them. So
Yes.
we're not thinking about more than 2 years from now what's going to happen. But I think I'm
Hmm.
very confident that whatever she does, she will do something that is of her interest, and she will choose happiness as her main motive.
Wow. Wow. That's such an amazing thought. In fact, I guess I feel all parents intend, their main intention is their children's happiness. They want their children to grow into being happy beings. However, somewhere we are all caught in what is the set way of doing things. And your family comes across. In fact, it's a great source of inspiration to many to see that how you have not only moved from a city life to a farm, but also you are open to the idea of children making their choices, children deciding what they want to do, and you're going to be by with them. You believe in experiences. You don't want to create an overprotective environment for your children where they just get everything that they need and so on. So amazing talk with you, Ashok. It was such a joy listening. We've got a small glimpse into your life, into your family's life, and it's really wonderful to see all three children who came on screen too. So very rarely do we get that blessing, of children coming on to our screen. And so it was wonderful chatting with you, and I'm sure you're going to keep inspiring many more people. Priya, thank you so much for making time and being there. And I look forward to your blog posts. I'm not sure whether you have written anything in a long time, because I'm not all that active on Facebook in the recent days, but I keep following whatever you both write about your homeschooling journeys, about experiences of Vipasha, and the little things that she says or she does. So it's beautiful to know all that. And so with that, on that note, I'm just going to check if any of our viewers would like to ask any questions. If you all have any questions, please do put them down. You all can also put them down later. Um, if y'all are not seeing the show or if questions come up to y'all later, we will, Ashok will go through them at a later point also and take a look at them. If y'all are interested in, if y'all want to go to his farm and spend some time there, I think y'all should connect with him.
Yeah, you're all
Send him.
welcome. Yeah.
Yes.
You're
I
all
think we
welcome
should
to
do
learn from our mistakes.
yes, we should do a homeschooling retreat at your place now.
Yeah,
No,
That
with
yeah,
a
would be
few
great.
families, not too many,
yeah.
a few families that you can handle, at one go. It would
We
be
can
such a
easily
joy.
handle 10 to 15 people. So we could plan something. Yes.
Yeah, two, three families, just
Yeah,
coming in
correct.
together, and we all pitch in to in everything, all the housework and everything we
You know,
around.
that
It'll
that
be
is that is very much needed for us to keep this alive. Without people, we just miss our lives.
yeah, yes, yes. So maybe once this pandemic is done with, we can plan something. I would love to come with my children because my children also love cats and dogs, and they love being in atmospheres which have, more of trees and nature around them. And
Yeah,
so
I
yes,
see your pictures on the ranch you visited.
yes, yes.
Yes.
We are part of Satna Ranch, and we are also we keep going outdoors, and so we always prefer going to places which are and spending time on farms and beaches and
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
places where there or mountains also for that matter. So
Correct.
so thank you so much, Ashok, Priya, and Vipasha for sharing in so much, such lovely pearls. And see you guys soon, and we'll stay in touch. So thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Sharmila. You've been such a wonderful host. You have been very openly listening. So, I think when you ask questions, we just flow. So, I think the credit goes
Yes,
to you in keeping it so open and friendly and warm.
thank you
So,
so
thank you very much.
thank you so much, and
Yes.
see you soon.